run through how to create a search so that your clients can receive an email anytime something comes on the market within their specifications. So of course we're going to log in here to Navica, click on the board portal that you want to select. We'll do Permian Basin. And then you're going to do just a normal search as you would anytime you're looking up something for a client. So residential. And let's say that my client has said that he wants something between 300 and 350. Single family, he doesn't want a townhome. Obviously, I want both of those selected. In Midland, and let's say he wanted at least 3 bedrooms, but he could go up to 4. And he wants anywhere between 2,000 and 2,500 square feet. Obviously, I could get into it a little further, school district, acreage, subdivision, whatever. However, that does limit you a little bit, so I try to keep it a little bit more broad so that we don't miss anything. But with this search here, again, the price, square footage, bed bath count, in Midland, and then of course active, we resulted in 55 different entries. So I'm going to select these here, and I'm actually going to come up here to Save Search Criteria. Whenever I click on Save Search Criteria, this box comes up that allows me to name my search. So let's just name him John Doe. I typically name the searches the last name of the client or the full name of the client. Really just kind of depends, but obviously you can do whatever. And then I'm going to assign this search criteria to a new contact or prospect. Keep in mind, a contact is just a contact that we have over here saved in Navica. A prospect is a contact that has a search saved. So I'm going to create John Doe as a prospect because I'm assigning a search, this search that I just did, to his contact. So we'll click that option and click Save. Once I click on that, it's going to prompt me to create a contact for John Doe. So I'm going to get in here, type what I know. Obviously, I have to fill in the red asterisks, and we will pretend like his email is my email for now. All right, so I put in that information. I'm going to click Save. And then it's actually going to redirect us back to the search. So right here, we need to fill in what we need to say every time that search goes out. So every time he receives an email, what is the subject line and what is the message? Usually for the subject, I do something kind of vague, house hunting. And then in the message, I outline what the criteria is. So something along the lines of this. Obviously, fill in the blank there with what you've set. Something like that. So quick little message. Keep in mind he's going to see this every time, so every morning whenever he sees an email. So you don't want it to be anything overly specific, just something kind of general. Obviously, you want your customer to be notified. I always put notify me as well, just so I know what they're getting sent, and it kind of helps me stay on top of things as well. And then when you click these boxes, you really only want to click the first 3, new listing, price change, and back on market. This way, he will get an email anytime there's a new listing, a price change, or something that comes back on the market within the specifications. The only one I don't click is miscellaneous change because you don't want him to get an email every time an agent gets in there and changes the public remarks or changes the showing instructions or whatever. So that's the only one you don't need to check. I usually do daily on search frequency. This is what sends it out every morning. when the market's really crazy, I've been known to do hourly, and then that pulls a search every hour so that your client could potentially receive an email every hour if something comes on the market within those specifications. So I'm going to keep it at daily. These two things you can click on. This basically says that anytime a listing comes on the market that is within this search, the agent who listed that home will receive an email saying that you could potentially have a client interested. Do agents very often follow up with those reverse prospect emails? Not usually. However, sometimes it's kind of nice to know that there's somebody out there with a potential client. If it's a friend, sometimes I'll send a message, but that allows listing agents to be able to see who could have a client interested. And then obviously the in-mail signature is just what your sign-off is at the end of this email that he receives. This can be customized in your account settings right up here by your picture. You can adjust that at any time. Buyer's Gateway down here. So this is a relatively new feature. You can actually set this up to where you give your buyer a password and he or she can get in here and change their search. So if he wanted to increase his price to $400, or maybe he decided he only wanted 3 bedrooms or whatever, he could get in there and make that change himself as opposed to asking you to do it. I have set this up for a couple of clients. Frankly, they don't usually use that just because they can get on Zillow or Realtor. So I don't, spend a whole lot of time setting that up for anybody unless I know it's somebody who is pretty savvy and can use that or will use that. So I usually bypass that. And then I'm just going to click on Save and Get Results. This will bring me to the actual search results, and it gives me the alert that these results have not been emailed to the prospect. If I want them emailed to the prospect, then I would need to select those and say email all search results, all results to new prospect. Then Mr. Doe would receive this search. Usually I just click OK and then get out of this. I don't necessarily, it's set up. My job is done. He's set up on the automatic emails. I don't usually send them the full list, but every once in a while I do. And obviously select those, email all results to new prospect. And then we'll see that Mr. Doe would get a list of all of these listings. Again, I don't usually do that. Sometimes I will. Most of the time I just, like I say, go back to my homepage. I'm done. I can always check to make sure it's all been set up, because if I go to contacts, which I do usually do this just to make sure I did everything right, because I want to make sure they show up as a prospect and not just a contact. So if you go to contacts and then go to my prospects, click on the letter, and you'll see that John Doe was added right here. So he's not just a contact, he's a prospect, and you can see what search results he has saved to him. If at any reason you want to get in here and change those, delete those, what have you, you can certainly do that. For example, this buyer's under contract, so I can delete the saved search criteria for her so that she doesn't receive emails anymore. So anytime you need to get in here and edit that, you're going to go to the Prospects tab, find your contact, prospect, and make any additions or revisions that you see necessary.